From the Miami New Times. Coincidence? Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez caught COVID after partying in Miami. I mean, that's the gist of the story. We saw the news over the past couple of weeks that AOC was seen hugging people, getting kissed by people, partying at a drag club. And this is coming from a person who has routinely ragged. Actually, you know what? Let me just pull up the tweet. We got this tweet from AOC herself, where she said 93.2% of Texans aren't fully vaccinated. Mind you, this is March 2nd. The state just endured one disaster worsened by selfishness and denial of basic science, and now conditions are being set for another. Repealing the mask mandate now endangers so many people, especially essential workers and the vulnerable. So perhaps her concern over the mask mandate was only because of limited vaccinations, and now she's changed her opinion? Sure, that's fine. But she's also criticized Ron DeSantis of Florida, which I would just say is wrong because she's choosing to go party in his state while criticizing him for the policies that allows her to go party in his state. And now she has COVID. So poetic justice or what? Hypocrisy?
Well, when you try to silence speech, when you weaponize compliance, and you disregard your own decrees that you complain about other people not following, you're not on the side of good. It's also important to note here that with this particular tweet on March of 21, that she, of course, is asserting that people will get hurt, that there will be some devastating consequences because of Texas moving away from mandates, moving away from top-down centralization of power, of force against the people who are living there. And the numbers don't lie. When you look at what happened in Texas after this, and you compare it to what happened in New York, there's a story there that, of course, is being hidden away from the general public. That's how I see it. And I don't wish anyone be sick. I don't think we should be celebrating anyone be sick. But this is the story that's happening right now that is deserved to at least be mentioned, in my opinion.
I think if I zoom out from my ego, I want her to be healthy. I want it to be easy, like a low symptom or no symptom illness, and be done with it and realize, okay, it's not that as bad as I thought it was going to be, kind of thing. That's what I want for the general system. I don't want to play hate and love with this girl, whatever. But
it's the policy, man.
Yeah.
It's if you're in New York, if you're a congressperson, if you're a governor, and you're defending or refusing to speak up in the face of vaccine mandates and mask mandates, and then you decide for my vacation, I'm going to go to one of the places where they don't have these policies so I can go party. I mean, that is everything wrong with politics, in my opinion. I see conservatives or Republicans being like, I don't like mask mandates, I won't wear one, and then they don't. I'm like, well, that's what they said. I get it. AOC, who's like, the governor here can give Ron DeSantis some pointers and mask mandates are important, but I'm going to go party where the governor does the opposite. It's the hypocrisy I can't stand.
The single most valuable thing right now is the thing that's most singularly missing, and that's consistency. We're desperate for people. I don't even think it matters so much what they say. If it lines up with what they do in a fairly consistent way, that person right now is going to be both respected and probably in demand, regardless of what side of the aisle you sit on. I live in Northern California, and I wrote pretty pointedly when the whole French Laundry thing happened with Gavin Newsom. I just said, look, this is not a small thing. You remember he was out there and he's without a mask shortly after telling everybody they had to wear a mask, and didn't help that it was a super fancy schmancy restaurant and he was with all his buddies. It was just a bad look. But I just remember saying, listen, when it comes to politics, speaking only for myself, I'll forgive stupidity. I'll forgive people being wrong, and I'll forgive people changing their minds. But it's really hard to forgive a hypocrite.
Yeah. Mike, there was medical professionals from the government of California coming forward and saying, along with bureaucrats, every time you have a bite, you need to put on your mask afterwards. As they were telling people not to gather in large groups, they were shutting down restaurants all over California as he's going to have a dinner at one of the fanciest restaurants in the world.
Sure.
With a huge crowd. And then thankfully, because of citizen journalism, because of people caring about this story was able to get out there to the general public and show the hypocrisy, show just how hypocritical a lot of these people are that will ruin your life while living their best life, which is crazy.
I wonder if it's, for people who align themselves with like the Democratic establishment or who are Democratic activists, they overlook the Newsom stuff or the Whitmer, the Pelosi, or the Maxine Waters, or, the list goes on. I wonder if they overlook that because their attitude is the messaging is more important. It doesn't matter if a handful of people are flouting the rules and ignoring it, so long as they're telling everyone to follow the rules to keep us safe. And then I wonder if, for post-liberal, libertarian, conservative, whatever, their attitude is, are you being honest? Are you an honest politician? Which is rare, to be honest.
It depends how scared you are, right? If the populace is freaked out to an 8 or a 9, they'll absorb a level of hypocrisy that they won't when they're at a 5 or a 6 or a 4 or a 5. Now we're becoming, I've just noticed it in the last couple of weeks, we're becoming less scared. I just had it, got through it. My folks both have it. They've come through it. It's not now just a question of how many people do you know who have had it. It's we're starting to see, and you can chalk it up to Omicron or therapeutics or the therapeutic nature of the vaccines. Whatever it is, people seem to be having a much easier ride than we were.
Yeah.
And so as the fear level comes down, what happens now when you recall Nancy Pelosi walking into a salon to get her hair done when she had specifically told people that you're not allowed to do that? You feel differently now because you're not as afraid as you were. So there's a long tail, I think, on hypocrisy, and it's still spooling out as we speak.
I bet this is going to be like people that are starting to, it's dawning on them now, like now that they're calming down, they're going to see this, and it's going to be like reliving trauma for these people. So when we, or when anyone is going to approach them about like, hey, just so you know, don't rub their nose in it when people start coming around.